The idea that commentary is dying has always seemed kind of absurd to me. Yeah, genres of content can die out, and even though it's definitely rare, it is seen that something as huge as an entertainment type can seemingly disappear from the media. Ever since iDubbbz made a content cap on Leafy, it's impossible to go on Twitter or YouTube without seeing someone complaining that everything was better back in 2016, when everyone made terrible content and talked about redundant topics. Well, I guess we still do that. But I don't think it's as simple as it's presented. Commentary, as I've discussed before, is in itself not entertainment. It is simply expressing an opinion or providing a specific person's point of view on, well, virtually anything. Meaning that something as simple as sharing an opinion is translated to providing commentary. And therefore it is inevitable that this type of content exists in the media, especially since it's the foundation of entertainment. Us as people are drawn to hate. I can't just put my finger on it, but for some reason, if we see something we disagree with, we will often share said information. It's often mentioned that if you see something that offends or disgusts you, why would you share it? We seek out things we disagree with simply because it strengthens our individuality and makes us feel more alive. As stupid as it sounds, I think humanity gets a kick out of reading bad reviews of their favorite movies or visiting the worst meme pages on the internet, and that's probably why I use Twitter so much. It is common knowledge that 90% of Twitter is glorified gossip and people acting like idiots. So if you find pleasure in watching a couple of monkeys throwing feces at each other, then you're gonna enjoy Twitter a lot, and the same goes for YouTube. I'm genuinely unsure as to how many comparisons there's been made from YouTube to Game of Thrones and Dark Souls, but I must admit that on occasion it can be pretty entertaining, and that's because we love edge. The basics of a joke is that it offends. Comedy is surprisingly dependent on being offensive. If it has no motive to exist, it will have no target audience and therefore target people who find anything funny. And that's why inoffensive jokes are mostly known as dad jokes. It's so obvious that only a 5-year-old could laugh at it. There are obviously more factors tying in than just inoffensiveness to make a joke a dad joke, but the concept is clear. When stuff like the Count Dankula situation happens, it's not just infringement of free speech, but it's gonna be the death of comedy. Edge is important, but obviously it can be utilized incorrectly. It's often used for nothing more than shock value, and that's when you've killed the joke, because then it's no longer a joke. Being offensive and acting like an idiot isn't funny by default. It's actually inherently unfunny. But it's different when it's not a joke. Drama isn't entertaining because it's funny, but because it's like a crossover episode. We see a couple of people we've possibly invested hours of time into gang up on different prominent characters in the game of YouTube. So we are entertained by drama, how petty it may be. But other criticism that has been put towards commentary is obviously the content. Yet I find this pretty dumb. People evolve, and it's the same thing that's happening here. Yeah, we have lost a couple of great content creators and others have simply decreased in quality, but in the smaller parts of the communities, I think the content is better than ever. When I started doing videos almost 2 years ago now, I expected to dislike most of the content I would find on channels of the same size as myself. But over time things have changed. Even though I've definitely seen some dogshit content in my time, well, hell, I've fucking made it, I still consider a lot of videos much more than watchable, and that's saying quite a lot for a community that hasn't made a dime off this platform for the last year. There are a lot of people who make simple forgettable videos, and right about now we can witness the revival of the shittiest type of content. The reaction commentaries, a great example of why everyone looks down at the commentary community as a genre. But I digress. It's important not to look at everything with a black and white filter, and one thing YouTube keeps reminding me is that there's a huge contrast between quality and enjoyment. That's why people still watch YouTube. Because even though barely anyone has a budget on this platform, that's rarely what it comes down to. Entertainment doesn't always need to be perfect to be entertaining, and that's something to keep in mind as you surf on the waves of the internet. That's also one of the reasons why we love the so bad it's good genre so much. And it's definitely one of the primary reasons garbage content often finds itself being successful on YouTube. Personality is what drives the platform, and if you don't have charisma, you're pretty much doomed to be the bottom of the food chain. And this is more important within commentary than basically anywhere else, as it's solely dependent on opinions. But that's not to say commentary is specific to YouTube alone. There can be found traces of it in every type of media, yet it's more prominent on YouTube as we have somehow made it into a genre. Bad content is not only getting shared more frequently, but it's also getting immense amounts of popularity for seemingly no reason. I do not believe that commentary is dying, but I do believe it's rotten to the core. Time will either finish off this shitty genre or it will heal it. Even though there are incredibly many content creators living as human sewage pumps, there are still some great content creators to be found scoured around the wasteland. No, commentary is definitely not dying, it's just really fucking shit at the moment. Yeah, bye.